Charter of said city, will convene a regular meeting on Tuesday, April the 1st, 2014, at 6 p.m. in the Commission Chambers on the second floor of Brownsville City Hall, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God,
one and indivisible. Our invocation is going to be led by Pastor Herman Gutierrez of the Casa de Adoración Church.
Thank you. Let us bow our heads. Father, we're so thankful and grateful that you are in the midst of this place. Father, we invite you to be with us. We ask that your Holy Spirit is with us, Lord, and minister to us. Father, all of the plans for Brownsville, Father, we pray that you have your hand over each decision. We ask you to just speak to each and every one of our hearts, Lord. And Lord, we thank you that this time for Brownsville, we believe that Brownsville is going to be a light among many cities. And we ask you, Lord, to bless it. We bless each and every person here today, Father. We ask you in the name of Jesus. And the people say, amen.
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 Thank you, Pastor. Moving on to item number 2, Commissioners' Reports. As soon as I want to begin just by recognizing Dr. Rose Gowan and Ramiro Gonzalez from our planning department, and they attended. Dr. Gowan is going to speak about it. She attended the Texas Trails Active Transportation Network and was recognized with an award, and as well as Ramiro. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Gowan so that she can tell us a little bit about what went on.
So every 2 years in the off legislative year, the Texas Trails Network provides or puts on a conference to teach all of Texas and really all of the country about the value of active transportation and weaving it into your community to then therefore create a community that is walkable, bikeable, livable, with plenty of green space, and that with accessibility to all. This year's conference was last week in Fort Worth, and Brownsville was recognized for their efforts in creating a walkable, bikeable, friendly community that is, as I said, filled with green spaces that are used so that our people and our children grow up in a very inviting atmosphere, and how it translates into, therefore, economic prosperity and business districts that are thriving. So I would like to commend Ramiro Gonzalez, as he was last week commended for our planning department for listening and learning and implementing many of these changes in the city. We were also very recognized for our other departments who traveled with us, our traffic and B Metro and CVB. And there were many other communities in the state there at the conference that were asking us, how does Brownsville do what we do? And congratulating us on the work that we've done for the community. So thank you very much to all of you who attended, and keep an eye out for more progress in the future as we go forward.
Thank you, Dr. Gunn. Anybody else?
I have one announcement. I wanted to announce again on April the 16th, we are having an Easter party between 6 and 8 o'clock at the Portway Acres Park. And we've been very fortunate just with 2 Facebook posts. We've already had several $100s donated by local businesses. Postal shipping solutions on Boca Chica. Make sure you ship with them because they're cool people. And Guardian extinguishers and a whole bunch of other community members have jumped in and donated lots of cool stuff. Candies, eggs. So if anybody has any more donations, we greatly, greatly appreciate hot dogs, buns, chips, candy, eggs, anything you can think of that kids might enjoy. You can contact our Parks Department, Shannon Guerrero, or our Director, Chris Patterson, and we would greatly, greatly appreciate it on behalf of everybody at the city. Thanks.
I just have a really quick announcement. As part of Women's History Month, I was asked to read a book and participate in 3rd grade classes, I guess 2-hour reading time at Morningside Elementary. I had a very good time. The students were very engaging and asked a lot of interesting questions that I fumbled a bit, but it was really nice. I just wanted to commend Mrs. Zuniga's third grade class at Morningside Elementary.
Good job.
Okay, and I just wanted to, excuse me, let everyone know that I believe it was late last week, we were invited by our state representative, Eddie Lucio III, to the Brownsville Community Health Center on Price Road. It was the first time I've been there. I was very impressed with the facility and with its efficiency. It was serving a lot of people very quickly. And the reason we were invited was Molina Healthcare, a big company. It's actually the largest Hispanic-owned company in the U.S., presented the clinic with a $10,000 check for a special fund, which is called the Fracture Fund, because a lot of the people that use the clinic, their insurance or medical aid doesn't cover any bone fractures. So a lot of these people, they'll go for months without treating the fracture, and it'll heal improperly. So we want to thank Molina Healthcare for donating to that cause and helping our citizens.
Thank you, Commissioner. And ladies and gentlemen, I hate to be the bearer of the news, but Mayor Martinez is not present here this evening because he is in Houston spending time with his son. He is terminally ill and has stomach cancer. And we ask for continued prayers for him, for Mayor, and for his family. Thank you. We're going to continue with proclamations.
Confederate History and Heritage Month.
I'm going to go ahead and walk to the podium because I'm going to be there for the next one as well. Okay, and I just want to thank a family just gave us a check for the Easter party, so thank you. That was really awesome. Here you go, Charlie.
Well, thank you.
Not in my hands. All right, let's see here. This is a proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, proclaiming April 2014 as Confederate History and Heritage Month in our city. Whereas on February 1st, 1861, the state of Texas declared itself to be a free and independent state and subsequently joined the Confederate States of America, of which it was a member of the state from 1861 to 1865. And whereas the city of Brownsville contributed many citizens and soldiers to the service of the Confederate States. And whereas the Texans who served in the war between the states are memorialized in almost every country in the state. And whereas all citizens of Brownsville should study the war between the states, and as we study all wars, so that we may understand the historical events which compelled the war, and from that understanding, continue to learn and to live together and seek to avoid further conflicts, right? Now therefore, we the members of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, by the virtue of the authority vested in the charter of said city, do hereby proclaim the month of April as Confederate History and Heritage Month, and further urge all of our citizens to become aware of the importance of history done on this first day of April 2014. Antonio Martinez, Mayor, and the City Commission. Congratulations.
My name is Craig Stone. I'm the commander of the local Sons of Confederate Veterans Camp here in the Valley. And I'm also a co-chairman for the Cameron County Historical Commission Civil War Sesquicentennial Committee. As you know, that next year will be the sesquicentennial of Palmetto Ranch Battlefield, the last battle of the Civil War. And Brownsville can proudly claim that they were home to the last battle, and we will be having an event, a week-long event, to basically, I hate to say it, but we're going to try to rival Charo Days. We're going to have parades. We're inviting the members of the press corps. We're inviting politicians. We're going to have events out by Onigaland Mall, over at the auditorium. We're trying to have a big event. It's not going to rival Gettysburg, but we're going to try. And I want to thank y'all for this and your commitment to history.
Thank you.
Next is Michael Begum.
So this proclamation is very special. Mike Begum is one of our Brownsville natives, and I first heard about this on, I think it was national news, and when I saw him, I thought, wait a minute, I know that guy. So most definitely, we are very, very proud of you and your contributions to society. I think it takes a very special person to prove that sometimes life is more than what we think it is. And you have done an awesome job, and you're such an inspirational person. And I hope that all of us in Brownsville embrace his message, and I think we all could learn something from it. So it's an honor for us to have you here, and let me read your proclamation. Proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, recognizing Michael Begum for bringing a positive message of courage. Whereas Michael Begum was born in Tampa, Florida, to Michael and Josefina Begum on April the 26th of 1988. Mike was born with a disability called arthrogryposis, which prohibits him from walking, lifting, using his fingers, dressing himself, and above all else, living independently. And whereas, although stripped of all of these activities that most people perform every day, Mike chose to seek ways around his handicap. He found ways to write, type, and even empower his mind to the point that he graduated from high school and completed 100 hours of his college degree in business management at the University of Texas at Brownsville. And whereas, among his many accomplishments, in January of 2013 in Austin, Texas, Mike was recognized as a legendary gamer by Walter Day, founder of Twin Galaxies, of the official electronic game scoreboard that supports video game playing as an international sport by awarding him a Trade Card 1. And whereas, Mike has written a book called My Life Beyond the Floor, which gives a glimpse of his life and the obstacles he has had to overcome in order to become the person he is today. And whereas, Mike wrote the book with a higher purpose of helping those who struggle with life, whether it is due to physical, mental, or emotional disability. He hopes to reach the inside their hearts and offer a hope for a better tomorrow. Now, therefore, we, the members of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, by the authority vested of the Charter of said city, do hereby recognize Mike Begum for his message of courage and determination through his book, My Life Beyond the Floor, to disabled people to never give up on life. Furthermore, we thank Mike for reminding us that there is always a reason to live and no path is too dark for the light to shine in. Done on this first day of April 2014, Antonio Martinez, Mayor, and the City Commission.
I hope this reaches.
It's fine, son. You need to pick up your chair a little bit.
No, this is as good as it gets.
No, we can't see you.
Why? This is as high as it goes.
Okay, that's not
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming. Yeah, a lot of you guys know me as Brawley. I haven't used the mic in a while, but I enjoy, having the great honor here in Brownsville. Well, this is where I've been living for 20 years with my parents, and it was a great, experience. I came into this world different from all of you. I couldn't do everything that I was that y'all could do independently, whether it's feeding or getting clothes on or getting out of bed and doing the things I want to do. It's not something that I thought of negatively. I just used it as a source to keep going and keep living on. But the things I was able to do in life was still be able to read, was still be able to write, go to school just like everyone else, and graduate high school and actually get really close into graduating to college, because my goal in life is to be an independent person as much as I want, as can be. It's always been a goal in my life to do that, and that is the main reason why I wrote this book. I wrote it with my mouth. That's how I learned how to write and type, and I wrote this book for 2 years, and it's a glimpse of my life, autobiography of how I overcame the struggles of being disabled, going to school, learning how to communicate with others, and how I started with the video game life, and how I got into how it opened doors for me to meeting new people, getting to travel around the world, and experience things that I honestly thought I would never be able to experience. And I wrote this book as a message for others to find hope into living another day, because I know the biggest fear in my life is to quit living, and what I love most is trying to get another day going on to where I could be successful. And this book here is it's for a way for me to get a futuristic life, a futuristic home, to where I can get a home where I can voice activate to go open doors, getting myself off the floor. And it's a really powerful book, and I hope everyone that gets a chance to read it, to buy it on Amazon, Kindle, the free apps on your PC and phone. It's a really good book, and I really hope this pushes me forward to reaching my goal, and that's having an independent life. So I thank you guys for coming, and God bless you all.
Mayor Pro Temp, if I may make one real quick comment, that awesome check was from Mr. Mike Begum and his mom, so thank you for the Easter party donation.
First of all, I want to thank Jessica and the city of Brownsville. Wow, what an amazing honor it is for my son. I watched him type the entire book for about 1.5 years with his mouth on a chopstick. I think he went through several of them. But like he said, the goal here is to make sure that he's able to be independent. And I can't die in peace if my son doesn't have that kind of life. And as a parent, I think that y'all can appreciate where I'm coming from. And so I say buy the book, give it as a gift, learn that nothing is impossible. When you have stability, there's ability. And so with that said, I thank you all very much, and buy the book.
The next item is Employee of the Month.
Mr. Calvin?
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, please help me welcome the Employee of the Month for April, Anita Limon. Anita's been with us since 1999. She started as a temporary employee with the municipal court, has remained there since then. She is considered one of our excellent employees at municipal court, understands the responsibility she has there. services everyone with a big smile, as you can see. Even though some of the people that go there are there for some concerns in relation to their municipal court issues, she finds a way to deal with them and resolve it pretty good for us without us having to give her much assistance. She does a great job. She volunteers and sometimes is asked to be a magistrate clerk, which entails her to be reporting to work on Saturdays, Sundays, holidays, and help with the municipal court docket in relation to a lot of the serious issues we have with arraignments, et cetera. And so we want to recognize her for her great duty to the city with our plaque, Municipal Court Department, Anita Limon, for the month of April 2014 in recognition of outstanding services provided to the residents of the city of Brownsville. The city pin, and one of the prettiest watches I've seen given, yeah. Congratulations, Eddie. And she has a few words for you. So.
I just want to say thank you.
Item number 5, consent agenda items A through G.
I entertain a motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 6.
Item number 6, consideration and action to appoint one member to the Brownsville Public Utilities Board. Motion to,
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Rafael Vela.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Vela.
Item 7, public hearing and action on first reading on protested ordinance number 235-2013-057-S to allow a restaurant and a party place in a general retail H classification and dwelling A classification for 3.28 acres out of Lot 7, Block D of Brownsville Land and Improvement Company subdivision located at 1904 Central Boulevard.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, this is a case, the case before you was tabled last 2 weeks ago because it was, we didn't notice it properly. It was protested, which means that tonight all 5 of you would have to vote in favor for it to pass. I know that the applicant is here, and I know some people from the neighborhood are here. But this is the case, Planning and Zoning Commission, man, this is better. Planning and Zoning Commission approved and recommended the approval of this case with conditions. One of the conditions was no outside patios, and it has some conditions as far as hours of operation. So during the week, it has to close at midnight. And I believe Friday and Saturday, 1 o'clock in the morning is the latest. You see here, can we go to the aerial? These are the neighborhood. This is the mailing that we did. So the way the ordinance is written is if the neighborhood is able to get more than 20%, then it is protested. So that's why it's protested. The aerial. Is that it? Oh, here we go. You guys, this is the Wingstop, this is the Pizza Hut, and this is the subject site. You see that it's residential behind the site, and here you actually see the 2 buildings that are proposed on this development. So I believe this is phase 1, and then there's a phase 2 of a strip center or a shopping center that goes along this way. That's the case, and the Planning and Zoning Commission ruled in favor with those conditions. So I entertain any questions, or it is a public hearing.
This is a public hearing. If anybody would like to speak on it, this is the time.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name's Gordon Lipscomb, And we stipulated to some conditions on the property, but we're still adamantly opposed to it. If you look back to where they had the, let me see, this one, if you look at this plot, I did some quick calculations. Almost 45% of the entire plot is zoned residential. And that's where they want to put the restaurant and bar and the party place. That seems entirely out of character for their commercial zoned area in the front of the property, and them wanting to put the major structures, which are the ones that we're most against, at the back that is zoned residential. It seems that there are zoning plans and there's laws that are set in place that should be adhered to. And by going through a specific use ordinance, then they're circumventing all these laws that have been in place for a long time.
A special use is not a circumvention. It's not used as a circumvention tool. It's so that you, as the property owners around there, will be protected. In other words, once that person gives the city of Brownsville a specific use, they have to stick by that. They have to adhere, and therefore oblige by them, so that they, in fact, will not be able to hurt the residential area.
Right, but I mean, it's a restaurant bar that's going in there. Okay?
That's why they're applying under a specific use.
Well, I mean, they have a zone commercial area up in the front.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and we had stated long ago that if the restaurant and bar and the party place were positioned such that it was up in the front, away from the properties that are residential, the people have been living in this area and in the homes surrounding it for near 50 years. That, you know, the protest would go away. You understand if the restaurant bar, or the main parts of this project were located up at the front on the commercial side, on the commercial area, then this would be, we wouldn't be here. You know, it just, a lot of these things that were stipulated to, he only mentioned two things. I mean, from what I understand, they're going to cut down the trees along the Resaca. Some of those trees have been there a long time. They're going to mitigate the trees in other areas, but I mean, you know, they're cutting down trees to plant other trees. All of this stuff is going to be paved over. There's going to be stuff going into the Resacas. You know, I don't know if they're going to put in drains or that are connected to the city drainage. A lot of these things are unclear to us, and still, you know, it shouldn't come at the expense of the people who are living around it. Okay, I mean, a lot of these people have been here for well on 50 years or more. Okay, and I just think that this needs to be well thought through, and not set some precedent. I mean, there's a lot. There's an area in the back of my mom's property. It's zoned residential. It's right across the Resaca from this. If I come in and ask you all to put in a bar, are you going to allow that? That's, you know, it's just setting a precedent that I think shouldn't be set. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ramiro, is it a body of water right there next to it, right under it? That's the resaca right there?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and then the,
Right, you see the resaca right here.
okay.
It actually comes, I think it comes underneath Coria and then,
And where the resident,
Beach.
where the, how many houses are,
They're all over.
there's all these homes right here. Do you have a zoomed further out version?
There's a lot of.
Okay, so you see all these homes back here. Some of them, I mean, it's kind of tough to tell on the screen here,
do you have the
but,
site plan for the screen?
excuse me,
Do you have a site plan for the screen?
for the street?
For a screen, there.
Oh, yeah. That's this is the proposed, I believe, the second phase, and then this is the proposed party hall or bar, and this is what the site they're proposing. I'm not sure about the comment about them cutting down the trees along the resaca. I mean, the owner is here to speak if he wishes, but that could also be a condition that none of the trees along the resaca.
Under the site plan, and it's not quite visible from here, but under the site plan, do they have a buffer area in the back as required by ordinances, that they have a buffer area? Do they have a buffer area
I
in there?
believe they do, right? For 40 feet?
Yeah, they have 40 feet between the building and the fence.
So 40 feet, so this is the fence line in the back, these are the two buildings. There's 40 feet between the fence line and the building. And one of the conditions is also that no outdoor activities be allowed, or dining and stuff like that, so.
Like music, outdoor music?
Yeah, no music.
There's no parking in the back or anything like that, right?
There is not according to this site plan.
Okay.
And this is what, if this is approved, then this is what they have to follow.
Wooden
So-
security fence?
Excuse me?
Wooden security fence?
Yes.
8
foot.
feet.
Ramiro, does this fall in line with the Unified Development Code that you're working on?
Well, I mean, it would do a better job of controlling everything that the development regulations. But, you know, I mean, these are the regulations we have. And that's why it is important to work on that so that we can improve the type of development that we want to have here in Brownsville.
To follow up on that question, if we had a unified development plan, would this pass the way it is?
It would require more. I mean, there would still be this existing condition of the commercial in the front and the residential in the back. But the site would be required more. You would require more. We could require environmental conditions, and I mean, there's a lot of things that you could require that we don't require now. But that's not to say whether it would pass or not. I mean, that's
I know, I understand. But a lot of things concern me, but one of them is the comment about the resaca and changing the trees and the edging of the resaca. We are obviously underway in a big resaca restoration program throughout the city, trying to improve stormwater drainage and clean the water that goes into the resaca, keep it clean and all of that. And I would be really concerned that changing the edging of that resaca may hamper that effort.
yeah. I mean, you know, we don't. The way the current system works is, you know, stormwater just flows into the resaca. Sometimes it flows into a retention pond, sometimes it doesn't. You know, we do have to consider all this when we talk about a UDC, because, you know, if we are going through the expense of restoring the resacas and trying to improve the water quality, you gotta regulate it better. So, at least new development.
Let me make a comment, because I've had this particular situation come up over the years, and when we say we have to protect the resaca, we've had owners in the past come and tell us, so when are you going to clean mine? You know what I'm saying? In other words, we're saying part of the stipulation or part of the problem that we have is that we don't want the resaca damaged. But yet a property owner will turn back and tell us, so when are you going to clean it? 10 years from now? 20 years from now? 15 years from now? Happened to me in a case on La Posada. So that's why I'm asking. In other words, the owner clearly can't come and tell us, well, you know, you're putting a stipulation on my property over at resaca, City of Brownsville, when are you going to man up and clean it? Or when are you going to man up and fix it? You know, so that's in other words, I don't want to say, well, I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm just saying the property owner has every right to come and tell us, well, you know, part of the stipulation or part of the reasoning you're giving me is because of the resaca. I want them to do the resaca, but yet, what have you done, or what are you doing, or what do you have in the process to be able to clean that resaca?
Well, I mean, yeah, the current regulations don't even talk about that. We have a tree ordinance that, you know, if you cut down a certain tree, you can mitigate it. So all these things have to be revisited in a comprehensive way. And I think that's the discussion that we've been having, that, you know, you're going through all these programs, but yet you're not requiring more of your development. You're still developing in a 1970 version, when you could be developing in 2014 regulations, right? So, but that's not this case. It's still a public hearing, and I believe somebody wants to talk. So,
good evening. I want to compliment Dr. Gowan on the report about the progress of Brownsville in this Trailways report that you mentioned. That brings to mind what we're here for tonight: the integrity of a neighborhood, your neighborhood, my neighborhood, the integrity of a neighborhood to follow the rules laid down. As if the area's zoned residential and has been for years, then that area should stay residential. I object to the noise pollution and the scenery pollution, among other things. I used to live on Crestview. My backyard was on a resaca. At 5 o'clock in the morning, I could hear the lions at the zoo roaring. One, I save on electricity by sleeping with my windows open as much as I can. Two, a resaca amplifies sound. That resaca and the one, there are two resacas, a larger one that has Holly Lane and the Pate home on it, and then this smaller one. They will amplify the sounds coming from that commercial business. Now, the commercial business has the area that's zoned commercial. They should not be allowed to build anything on the part zoned residential. Now, I'm a Brownsville native, born in Mercy Hospital when it was run by the Sisters of Mercy. And of course, when I was 17, graduating from Brownsville High School, I said, I'm never coming back here. I discovered that Brownsville is a very special place. One of the things I love about Brownsville is the greenery, the environment. I started attending the Native Plant Society meetings in 1992. I have collected native plants. My property there on Correa Street, this is sort of the backside of the story, okay? The restaurant owner, he's looking at it from a purely business point of view, and I understand that. I own a business. But the other side of the story is the neighborhood, the story of the neighborhood. What have we done? What is our ownership in this neighborhood? Well, we have birders. I run into people from Wisconsin and you name it, on Correa Street. Have you seen those red-crowned parrots? They're there because that neighborhood has a special environmental ambiance. Now, on my property, I have a room that's 600 square feet, and I use that for my business. The rest of my property, and you're all welcome to come visit anytime, is a certified Texas Parks and Wildlife wildscape. Right now is a great time. The butterflies are out. The plants are beautiful. I give use of my property to the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts. The Audubon Society is meeting on Monday nights at my property. The Art League, which had to be evicted from their location that the city was letting them use because of all those changes. The Art League for the last 2 years has met on Wednesdays at my property. My point is that this neighborhood is special. My son he went away to school, high school and college, and he likes Brownsville. So another generation of Collinses with my 3 grandsons are there in that property. I walk my grandsons down to those 2 resacas to look at the ducks, to look at the egrets on that resaca. That resaca, that little one, has egrets, red-crowned parrots, and I'd like to make an offer to the property owner. I'm a master naturalist also. if you will preserve the residentially zoned part of that as a buffer zone to maintain the integrity of our neighborhood, I will donate trees and bushes and plants. And you can have a certified Texas Parks and Wildlife wildscape right there. You don't have to go that big. But my point is, you put a parking lot back there and that runoff from those cars is going straight into that recycle. You put any kind of loud music going on out there, and if they say they're not going to have an outside patio, just wait 5 years or 2 years, they will. That's going to be noise amplification. Now, I keep my windows open from October to April because I'm a save the energy kind of girl. I'm green, okay? I don't want to hear that stuff. If there's a buffer zone, those trees will absorb the sound so that the neighbors don't have to hear it, and our children and our grandchildren don't have to be affected by the commercial area. We want to preserve the integrity of our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Once again, just a reminder that with a specific use, they cannot change. If they ever want to change anything, they have to come back to the city commission if they want to change that specific use.
Good evening. My name is Martha Lipscomb, and I live at 95 North Korea for 50-plus years. It's my understanding that the area in question has been residential, and it was left residential as a buffer to the properties. And the front part is already commercial, so there's no problem there. And we would be more than willing to work with them if they would just go to the commercial area. Put yourself in my shoes. Monday through Sunday, every day, traffic. Okay, morning, noon, and night, and 1 a.m. in the morning, and then people are still working to clean up after they leave. How would you like to live like that? Every day, day in and day out. It doesn't mean that they're going to do this continuously. Who knows? Maybe they won't make it. But then you have the building, the structure back there already. Look what happened across the street at 1925. That was a huge, huge era. That was the Amazonia that went in there. Of course, they were very, very loud and boisterous. Even though he said he won't go outside, it's still going to have a lot of comings and goings and trucks and stuff like that. We don't want that in our neighborhood. We've worked too hard to preserve it. Just think, if you had to live with that every day, day in and day out, till wee hours of the morning, they would look straight into my sunroom, my living area. That is just right across the water. And it's something that I just can't see that can happen. Think about what you're doing. And remember, the community has preserved our neighborhood, and it's been there, like I said, a long time, and we would appreciate it if you would consider and take our point of view and look through it that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, some of you folks mentioned she mentioned the Amazonia property. Just to let you know, we are the neutral party. We're here to listen to everybody's side, and that's how we're going to base our decision. Okay, when the people that invested into the Amazonia property came into town, they invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into that property. This city commission created a sound ordinance to protect the neighbors. Even then, with a sound ordinance created, with readings being taken, legally within the scope of the law, city manager present, chief of police present, people taking the readings to ensure that the residents were fine. Correct readings. One specific resident that was there continued to call the police. Readings were taken. He was told by our police department that whatever party was going on did fall within the scope of the law. And thus, you all probably, some people will be happy. The business is no longer there. It's now just leased out for individual parties. But this is an investor that came into the city and invested commercial property taxes that are a high end that keeps us as a voting body. When commercial property taxes come into the city, it keeps this voting body from having to raise property taxes, personal property taxes to all y'all's property. So I'm just letting you know, the vote still hasn't been taken, just to let you know that we do need to take all sides into consideration, and everybody will be heard. Thank you.
Good evening, City Commissioners. My name is Manuel Pozos, and I live at 1905 North Korea Street. I'm probably the most affected of all the neighbors because that 43% of the proposed project that is zoned residential right now adjoins right the back smack of my property, my backyard. And I really don't like what the impact that this could have in my neighborhood and in my household. I want you people to think what you would do if this was your case. And the peace of mind and the security and the noise are something that we cannot stand to have permanently in our lives. So I really object to this. If this has to be moved to the front, because that's the way it is. The commercial part, put the commercial operations there, and the residential, leave it residential. That's what the point of the residential zone was, to protect us, help us to protect our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ramiro, is the applicant present? Is the applicant present?
Yes, sir.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Yo soy el representante del grupo de inversionistas que presentamos este proyecto. Pensando,
nombre, disculpe?
Sergio Cantú, perdón. El proyecto está pensado en un proyecto limpio, en un proyecto que no afecte a los vecinos. Se está considerando lo del ruido, lo de la luz, de tal manera que se propuso una barda de 8 pies en lugar de 6. Los árboles que están ahorita actualmente, esos se van a dejar, es más, se van a replantar más árboles. En cuanto a la resaca, los vecinos, por los años que tienen viviendo ahí, están acostumbrados a ver un pedazo de resaca en cuanto al el lado de mi propiedad. Es un área olvidada, es un monte, árboles mal cuidados. Entonces, a eso se han acostumbrado los vecinos. En mi proyecto está considerado darle vida a esos árboles, replantar más plantas. Y el proyecto, en cuanto al sonido, los vecinos no tienen por qué preocuparse. Hay ordenanzas específicas que los códigos de construcción te obligan a cumplir, y hay autoridades que se encargan de vigilar que eso se cumpla. Entonces yo también entiendo la posición de los vecinos, pero que no le tengan miedo al proyecto. Es un proyecto limpio, sano, moderno.
¿El sonido todo va a estar dentro del edificio?
Todo va a estar dentro. Si ustedes se paran en cualquier restaurante, vayan al Chili's, vayan al Johnny Cariños, párense en la banqueta y fuera de la pared no se escucha absolutamente nada. Y son bares, es más bar que restaurante en el caso de Chili's. En este caso es un proyecto de comida mexicana contemporánea. El negocio principal va a ser el restaurante. Se está ofreciendo lo del bar como un complemento hacia la comida. Si ustedes escucharon la propuesta en cuanto a horarios de servicios, pues pensamos en abrir de domingo a jueves hasta las 11 de la noche. ¿Por qué? Porque el negocio es la comida, hacia donde va orientado, no hacia el bar. Y viernes y sábado, pues para darle más comodidad a la clientela, estamos pensando abrir hasta la 1 de la mañana. Así que en cuanto al ruido, de veras que no se preocupen. La iluminación, las luces van a estar lámparas dirigidas hacia el área del estacionamiento para que no molesten a los vecinos. Así que yo sí quisiera que apoyaran el proyecto Brownsville necesita inversión, Brownsville necesita crecer, y esta es una oportunidad para que el comercio crezca, atraigamos más turismo, que la gente tenga donde ir a comer, y un lugar limpio, moderno y de acceso para todo el mundo. Muchas gracias.
Sí, señor Cantú,
Sí,
¿escuchó la propuesta de la señora Collins?
no le entendí.
Es... I think we have a problem
So
here.
we got neutral combat.
Yeah.
Well,
combat.
yeah.
Bueno, había dicho que si usted estaría dispuesto a sacar, bueno,
A mover
mantener el área que está al lado del área residencial, de las casas y todo eso, mantener esa área con árboles y plantas y todo eso, ella estuviera dispuesta a apoyarlo en su proyecto y le donaría árboles y arbustos
Claro.
y todo eso. Si usted puede mantener esa área que da al lado de sus casas verde.
Yo comencé diciendo que la idea es mantener el área verde, es decir, los árboles, mejorarlos, cuidarlos, podarlos y sembrar plantas. O sea,
Entonces, ¿estaría dispuesto a
Claro.
trabajar con
claro
los
que sí,
residentes si
con
se aprueba
ella y
esto?
con los vecinos que quieran.
But he's not giving up his,
He's not giving up moving the house, the building.
O sea, a lo que se refiere la comisionada es que lo que los vecinos quieren es que en los solares en donde ahorita es residencial, que no ponga nada.
No, pues
O sea, eso es lo que ellos están proponiendo, que usted no ponga nada y que ellos le van a donar arbustos, árboles y todo eso para la propiedad.
no. No, pues me
Una
cambio.
pregunta.
Sí.
Cuando, and I'll let you know right now, cuando sus inversionistas compraron esos solares residenciales, los compraron obviamente con el plan de hacer este proyecto, o fue algo que vino después.
Se compró el lote así como está,
¿El lote venía de enfrente hacia atrás?
de enfrente hacia atrás.
O sea, en una compra fue...
Un solo golpe.
Okay.
Sí.
So what I was asking him was that when the property was bought, he says that the property was bought from Central Boulevard all the way into what's the back street, Ramiro? Is it Corey?
Coria.
It doesn't get to Corey. Okay. So this lot was as is. Those lots, those residential lots leading into the property that will face Central Boulevard.
Así es.
Okay?
Así es.
But it wouldn't make sense to have residential lots in the back if they don't have access to the street.
Well,
I don't know
unless they were to create a
Middle
drive
driveway.
to Correa Street, you know what I'm saying?
Ahora, el proyecto de restaurante y del bar, en cuanto a distancia, de una de las vecinas, la del lado derecho de la Resaca, está a 300 pies. O sea, si ya dije que si te paras afuera del Chile no escuchas nada, imagínense ustedes a 300 pies. La vecina de atrás, la propiedad, en cuanto a la pared del restaurante, son 120 pies. Yo estoy retirándome del límite de la propiedad a empezar la construcción en unas áreas hasta 70 pies. O sea, realmente lo que estoy pidiendo de que se cambie el uso de suelo de los 3.2 acres, estás hablando de menos de un acre. Y de ese menos de un acre, parte lo estoy cediendo de espacios que no voy a ocupar para no molestar a mis vecinos atrás. El área de la Resaca pues es impensable construir, también me estoy retirando lo suficiente para cuidarla, limpiarla y mantenerla, ¿verdad?
Mr. Gandu, he was stating that the owner that's right behind him is 120 feet away from the fence. And then he's still given an extra 40 on the inside, given that, about good close to 160 feet from 150 from the nearest residence and 170 from the other one. He doesn't, in other words, we can't tell somebody what to do with their property, but he feels that he's been generous with the property that he's given for this project. You'll have to come up. I'm sorry. If you want to speak, you have to come up. Continue.
I just think if there's already this much mutual combat and that is a recipe for a disaster for neighbors. And I have seen this commission go way out on a limb and do much more to protect Resaca and natural habitat within my district. So that's my 2 cents on this issue.
I personally feel the property owner is doing a lot to create a sound barrier and the distance. And not too long ago, we voted to hire a retail coach to bring in business.
Right.
And this is not even business that's related to that investment. It's just business that happened to happen on its own.
I agree.
So we're
but
scaring it away.
I
just
agree with
think
Commissioner
this-
Tetra.
This is one of Brownsville's most established neighborhoods. And I do respect your opinion, Commissioner Villarreal, and I agree with you. I just am very familiar with this area, and you've got Sunnyside and all of that. It's one of the most beautiful pieces of Brownsville, I think. And your plants, let me just tell you, that's cool. Thank you for
And
doing
Pizza
that.
Hut and Wingstop.
For me, the question is, what is it going to do to Resaca? And I don't think
Right.
that question has not been answered. And destroying the monte does change the drainage into that Resaca. So regardless of what was done in the 70s, it needs to be addressed today.
¿Qué podría hacer para mantener el área de la resaca? Todo alrededor y...
Primero, pues limpiarla, está bien sucia, el lado que da a mi propiedad. Está completamente descuidada, pues hay que limpiarla.
Resaca belongs to us, but
But
he's
the
willing to clean the property
the-
around.
Poner
close to
alguna-
it.
Yeah, but cleaning it, quote unquote, changes the drainage into that Resaca.
Está considerado ahí que para que el agua de la lluvia baje a la resaca, se va a pensar en una retenida de madera para que la tierra ya no vaya perdiendo terreno con el agua, ayudarle a tener una contención ahí, y poner plantas para que se vea bonito. Entonces no sé si tienen algún comentario conmigo, algo más que quisieran que... Sí.
I'm Martha Lipscomb again. When he purchased this property, he purchased it knowing that it was commercial, residential. Okay, that's there to protect the neighborhood. You know, and how can you let somebody come in and just completely destroy the area? I mean, it's gonna really affect it if you all okay it. You just can't do that. I mean, what if you live there? I bet you every one of you would be protesting and very voiceful. I really hope that you consider the neighborhood like it's been presented, because it is an old, established, very well-groomed neighborhood with a lot of wildlife. Thank you.
I don't want to be too redundant, but I just want to add to what she just said. He bought the property, and he knew part of it was residential and part of it was commercial. And I understand about wanting property owners to be able to do what they can and getting the money from the commercial. I understand that. But he bought it where it's been zoned residential already. So he can do whatever he wants with the commercial part. But for him to try to do anything to the residential part other than what it's zoned for is really an assault on the neighbors.
Buenas tardes,
Buenas tardes.
comisionado. Mi nombre es Roberto Salas, soy también miembro del proyecto en el cual pues estamos aquí precisamente para estar planteando lo que queremos para una ciudad que sea de progreso y que vengan las inversiones y que tengan mejores oportunidades de empleo y que tengan la ciudad sobre todo también más opciones a dónde ir, a dónde salir. Ese es un nuevo concepto que se tiene, en el cual pues se tiene planteado todo sin afectar a los vecinos. Es por eso que estamos aquí, para que reconsideren esta petición, el cual va a traer de gran beneficio para la ciudad, ya que también, como lo comentó, va a haber más taxes y se va a apoyar a la ciudad, el cual trae un gran beneficio para todos los que vivimos aquí en la ciudad de Brownsville, y sobre todo que va a traer fuentes de trabajo y de empleo que también hacen falta aquí en la ciudad. Siempre estamos solicitando que vengan inversionistas, que vengan gente que le apueste a Brownsville Y bueno, aquí hay personas que le tienen ese cariño y están haciendo este gran proyecto. Claro, sin afectar a los vecinos, el cual también se tiene contemplado una reforestación conjunta con árboles, con plantas, en el cual le dé otra imagen a ese lugar. Gracias. Muy amable.
That their project is in the best interest of the community in bringing in jobs and providing quality jobs and maintaining the stability of the property.
Buenas tardes. I'm talking
You asked me to translate. Okay.
Una pregunta. Los lotes de atrás son residenciales. Al momento de llegar a el cobro de los impuestos, ¿se puede cobrar como lotes comerciales?
Good question. Well, it's rezoned, isn't it? Sí, bueno, al aprobarlo,
Sí.
si se hace rezone, se va a rezone a comercial.
Ok.
Sí. O sea,
Entonces,
eso ya queda a tu favor, eso ya deja de ser de lo del
Sí.
de lo residencial.
La pregunta es por lo que usted dijo, que ellos compraron sabiendo que era residencial y usted dijo, nos conviene que se apruebe porque estos impuestos son comerciales y son más caros. Entonces, como quien dice, ellos ganan y no el área residencial, porque pues ellos a final de cuentas, sabiendo que era residencial, aún así lo compraron y dijeron, total, lo van a tener que aprobar porque mayor porcentaje es comercial. Entonces yo entiendo ambas propuestas y sí, todo el mundo está contento, digamos, del lado de la propuesta. ¿Por qué? Porque trae inversión a Brownsville, porque trae negocio, porque trae empleos, pero todo mundo llegó al punto de saber que los terrenos residenciales iban a ser siempre residenciales. Entonces, todos queremos que sea eso, todos queremos que haya inversión, qué bueno que haya inversión, pero que se respete lo residencial. El señor dice, sí, esto es un nuevo concepto, pues está bien, pero que lo haga en el trazo de terreno que es comercial. O sea, nosotros no nos estamos oponiendo a que lo haga, ok, lo va a hacer, no vamos a ganar tal vez oponiéndonos, pero queremos que se respete el área residencial y que él haga los negocios que quiera dentro del área comercial. Eso es únicamente, viendo desde el punto de vista de la comunidad, está bien, eso lo aceptamos, pero que se respete eso. Ahora, otra cuestión, ¿por qué querría él arreglar la resaca si no va a tener ningún beneficio de ella? Si, digamos, va a estar atrás de su negocio, no va a tener vista al negocio, nadie va a ir a esa parte del negocio, ¿por qué lo haría él? Entonces me lleva al punto de pensar que probablemente en un futuro él vaya a querer hacer algo afuera, que por eso quiera que su resaca o el lado de su resaca se vea bonito.
A este punto, como él nos ha comentado, lo está haciendo en buena fe.
Ok.
Ahora, con el specific use, al querer hacer algo afuera, eso ya está en specific use, que no puede hacer algo.
Okay.
Si él quiere hacer algo afuera, tiene que a fuerza venir con la ciudad para pedir uso para hacerlo afuera.
Pero sí, yo entiendo, ok. Esto va a llevar 2 o 3 años. En 2 o 3 años, sinceramente, probablemente las personas ya estén cansadas y digan, ¿para qué vamos si no vamos a conseguir nada?
No.
¿Sí me explico? Entonces, eso es lo que yo pienso. Que lo hace por buena fe, qué bueno. Se toma eso en consideración. Pero sí creemos que, viéndolo del lado de los negocios, pues aportaría. Pero respetando o no arrasando o no pasando por encima del lado de lo residencial, que como todos sabemos, o la mayoría de ellos han estado ahí por mucho tiempo. Yo estoy ubicado en 2 terrenos antes de llegar a Los Ébanos, es una iglesia cristiana. Tenemos poco en la región, en la comunidad, y nos hemos visto muy bien identificados con la gente. Entonces, sí, creo que hay un decreto o algo que la ley que prohíbe venta de alcohol cerca de
con specific use.
Con eso que usted dice, pero sí quisiéramos que se tomara en cuenta la situación de lo residencial, ¿Por qué? Porque todo eso afectaría completamente el área.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
He's in your favor. Ramiro, Puga. I think the writing on the wall is very clear as to where the vote is going to go today. You told me you needed 5 for it to be approved. I think it's obvious that he's not going to get the 5. Where do we go from here for him to be able to save his project? And in other words, are we going to have to table this and you go back and speak to him? Because if we take action right now, he's not going to, this project is not going to pass.
I mean, I would invite, I mean, we've done it in the past where we've tried to play the middle person. I think we've done some of that here. Maybe we haven't done enough of detail. So if you would like,
In other
I
words,
would
if-
say 2 things. If you motion to table, that gives the owner more opportunity to come back with maybe a revision, or it also gives the owner the ability to present it in front of a full commission. So not that maybe the vote would change or not,
Yeah.
but I mean, that might be the fair thing to do in a case like this. So it'll give us at least 2 weeks to go and, talk to the neighborhood and the owner, and maybe try to come up with something a little different, knowing how the commission feels.
Because if we vote right now, as is,
Yeah.
and as it stands, the whole project dies. Even the commercial on the front?
He would have to come back. No, the commercial's already zoned,
Okay.
so he doesn't have to.
It's just the ones in question in the back.
It's just in the back, yeah.
I have a quick question. Are you still interested in trying to negotiate with him?
Yes, if it moves it up front. Puts the restaurant and bar and party place up front.
I would say let's table and let's see if
I'd like
we
to make
can.
a motion to table to give
Let
them that.
me,
Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
let me just, the name of the investor, I'm sorry, the representative of the investor.
It's from Matus.
Señor Cantú, déjeme explicarle cómo va la cosa. Si tomamos el voto ahorita, a como se ve, no está en su favor. Si nos esperamos 2 semanas para darle una oportunidad para que hable con Ramiro, para que prepare y a ver si podemos llegar a otra solución, en 2 semanas también dándole la oportunidad que esté aquí el alcalde y la comisionada Vázquez, ¿está usted dispuesto ¿verdad? A poder estar en conversaciones con Ramiro y tanto con los vecinos también? Okay. I'll turn your motion.
I'd like to make the motion to continue,
To table.
to table, yeah.
Second.
I just have one clarification from Ramiro or whoever can help us. The runoff from Central Boulevard or even Korea when it rains, where does it go? To the Resaca, right?
Yeah, to the Resaca.
So I mean, the runoff from this parking lot isn't the only runoff going into the Resaca.
I mean, that's a safe. I could ask, get you a better
I mean,
answer. but-
Resacas are for flood control, right?
Yes.
I think that's a better question for the PUB, who has their scientific experts working on the project of Resaca restoration.
I didn't know if you had scientists.
Yeah, I'm just saying that this isn't going to be the first time that we have runoff going into Resaca.
No, but until we change our attitude, then it's never going to change.
So yeah, motion to table?
Second.
First, I entertain a motion to close public hearing.
Oh, I'm
Motion to
sorry,
close.
motion to close public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to table? and-
Second.
Yeah. All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion table.
Item 8, there's no public comments.
No public comments?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll continue.
Item 9, consideration and action to approve the proposed first substantial amendment to the fiscal year 2013-2014 HUD Community Development Block Grant Program funding allocation.
Good evening, Commission. First, I'd like to take a moment to introduce Mr. Edgar Garcia. He's our new Senior Program Manager. He will be Stephanie Reyes's right-hand man.
Cool.
We are here tonight because we're asking for your consideration and action on a substantial amendment that we proposed 2 weeks ago. We are eliminating 2 subrecipient agencies from CDBG funding and reallocating it to a different agency. So we're here to ask for an action. 2 meetings ago, there was no action taken.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I'm
Thank-
sorry, the agencies that will be,
The agencies that will be eliminated will be Dentists Who Care and the Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
And we will be reallocating the funds to the Brownsville Adult Literacy Program, and the remaining balance, which is $6,000, will be reallocated to our uncommitted funds.
And then later we can reallocate that to
Yes.
Amigos del Valle and,
Yes.
what was the other one?
well, we won't discuss that in
Catholic
open
Charities?
session.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 10, consideration and action to request a time extension to FEMA to complete the construction of the community safe room under project number DR 1791-368.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and City Commissioners. I'm Roxana Rosas with the Office of Grant Management. And tonight we'd like to request your approval for a letter to the Texas Division of Emergency Management. It requests a time extension to complete the construction of the second dome located at the sports park. There are 2 attachments to this letter. Attachment A, which includes a correspondence between the architect and the state, and Attachment B, which is the revised timeline.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 11, consideration and action on resolution number 2014-037 to accept and set public hearing dates for annexing certain territory to the city of Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas, and extending the boundary limits of said city and dealing with related matters.
Mayor Pro Tem, City Commission, this is the first step in the process. We have a petition letter signed by these 6 or 7 owners for voluntary annexation. And the city limits is actually at this corner. So what we're doing is we're moving under an exception to annex this entire area, the 72 acres. So we ask for your approval. The first meeting will be on April 15th. And then I believe it's May 6th, right? Or, yeah, the next Tuesday in May, the first Tuesday in May. And this is just the first step, and we have to notify in the paper, notify all the agencies, notify the owners, all that stuff. So we don't anticipate there being much because we did get, they came to us. So, so we ask for your approval of this resolution.
So move. Second. I'm sorry, get one today.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Number 12.
Item 12, consideration and action to award a contract for a transit market research study for B Metro.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. Alex Lorio, our grants and outreach manager, will be taking the lead in this project, so I'm going to let him make the presentation.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Really quick, just to give you a little bit of information what this is, we'd like to engage the services of a third-party contractor to undertake a market research effort to address a variety of issues, from addressing immediate needs related to improving bus operations for existing passengers to accommodating future population and employment growth. We want to integrate the results of the research into our strategic decision-making and overall transit management. So we're receiving federal financial assistance for this project, which was awarded through a grant from the Texas Department of Transportation. And the steps taken to select the firm are outlined in the memo that was included with your packets. We'd like to award, or we're recommending that the contract be awarded to Transit Marketing LLC out of Tucson, Arizona, for a not-to-exceed budget of $103,740.
Want to entertain a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Alex.
Item 13, consideration and action to award a term contract for geotechnical and construction material testing services for street and drainage improvement projects and miscellaneous city projects.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, good evening. This item is to award a contract for geotechnical and construction material testing services for City of Brownsville projects. The term of this contract is for 3 years. The recommended testing firms are PSI, Earthco, Terracon, and Robert Kistner. I recommend approval of this item.
So move.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Item 14, consideration and action to award a contract for engineering and surveying services for street and drainage improvement projects for the City of Brownsville Engineering Department.
Honor Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, good evening again. This item is to award a contract for engineering and surveying services for City of Brownsville projects. The term of this contract is for 3 years. The firms recommended are AGH Consultants, Ambiotech, Gonzalez Engineering, Plagar Engineering, Naismith Engineering, Chavez Automated Design Consultants, and Mejian Roads. I recommend approval of this.
So
item.
move.
Motion.
Second.
Sorry.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Curtis.
Item 15, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase and delivery of 52 rifles for the Brownsville Police Department.
Evening, Mayor Pro Tem Commissioners. This is money being used from a grant that you all approved a while back to supplement our patrol division with 52 Colt rifles, and the lowest bidder on this project was GT Distributors for $42,484. And the budget codes for this purchase will be through 01-313-0706 for $42,044, and the remainder would be out of 310-706-440 out of supplies.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Entertain a motion.
Motion to close.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Stand adjourned. Thank you.